Good morning, good day. Just having a coffee here midday. Um, so yeah, we live. We live today. I think it's the day 25th on lockdown, and we're gonna have a chat with Eohan Lakey. We're just waiting Eohan Lakey to come through, and we're gonna be chatting about entrepreneurship, business, South Africa, retail, what is happening in the economy. He is a kid who owns our own website with different local South African brands. I think it's the first website of a kind, and in very short time he has gained very good experience and some insight in what's happening in the industry, right? Oh, thank you for the cap. Thanks. This is one of the new caps we just did. It's very limited. It's a denim patchwork. As you can see here, this is like recycled denim, and then we just change it up, It was especially requested by a guy in Switzerland, actually. He loved it so much, he wanted to do something like that, so I told him, yo, we need to bring something for you, and then we made them, and we made a few samples, I think they came out quite great. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We're gonna be discussing business in South Africa, retail, and basically how to survive these difficult times, right, that we're all going through. How to keep positive, how to be able to survive and going through these times with a positive mindset, especially. We're hosting influencers talks now during the lockdown from Thursday to Sunday. So I'm gonna be interviewing certain people in the morning at 12 o'clock, which is gonna be more directed to entrepreneurship and business and stuff. And then in the afternoon at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m., Donovan and one of the creatives as well in the brand, he's going to be doing interviews regarding fashion and things a little bit more lighthearted, right? So thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys learn something about this. Hello, Aziz Jacobs. Aziz Jacobs just joined. He is having a chat with us tomorrow as well. He's a men's health fashion editor and grooming editor. So we will be talking about what is the way forward as well I just want to ask him a few questions regarding fashion, regarding print media, regarding what is he envision in the near future happening for these publications, right? So welcome. Thank you for tuning in. I'm currently back in Greenpoint. I was staying a few days out in another place. It is tomorrow. I think you guys got a bit confusing with the dates. Aziz, you are tomorrow. I did send you a message. It's Friday for you. And then today is Eohan. Eohan, welcome, Eohan, welcome. He has the man. So Aziz Jacobs tomorrow. You can tune in, not know where you have to go anyway, so you have to be indoors irrespectively. So let me join in and welcome to Eohan. Thank you, Aziz. Okay, wait. Hopefully we can all hear properly. Close the doors and everything so we have a bit of better sound. Yo! Eohan, welcome.
What's up? How are you doing, Izza? Hope all's good. Can you see me?
I can see you very well. Can you? Can you hear everything?
I can't see myself.
Oh, you can't see yourself? Why not? Just put yourself.
I don't know. Instagram's playing around you, It's playing around.
Don't worry, you look good, but just change the.
Well, I got the iconic black t-shirt on,
I can see the iconic gang there. Do you want to try again? If you want to see yourself, you want to try again, maybe?
I'm not too sure. I want to double check because I'm not sure anyone can see me. That's the one thing.
That's the thing, boom. I don't know. Let's cancel and then redo you.
Okay, vibes.
Can you see yourself now?
Everyone can see me. It's all good, yo.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we need to have this connection. Okay. Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm already came last night here back to my place in Greenpoint and just been ready. Like I started the day being a bit creative. I got my
Mm.
camera out as well. I was shooting some content. I want to do this like a little film. Like a little short
Yeah,
film, like a day in the life in a way, like something very like chilled. But yeah, that being said, like I was just welcoming the people. Wash
I
represent.
think
Yeah, and people know
I
you.
don't know,
You're
Buffett.
famous.
There we go. There we go. Out here
Yeah.
supporting the getting the grind on. You know.
Exactly, exactly. So I was just doing a small introduction to Eohan, but all I can say, obviously, Eohan Lakey, entrepreneur, a strategist, business
Jose.
developer. That's like the short bio. Fashionista, fashion lover, South
A fashion
African
love is
pro
everything,
South
man.
African. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hate the word fashionista. No, never a fashionista. Always, it's a natural thing. It's you got it, style that.
Exactly.
So yeah, but basically, yes, introduce yourself to the people that are watching now, the people that are going to be watching, tuning in later. Just give me a breakdown of who is Eohan Lakey, what do you do above everything, and yeah, please.
Yeah. So essentially, I'm a 21-year-old, like aspiring entrepreneur. I'm not there yet, unfortunately. That's like fully into business. I've always been into business ever since I was in like a young kid. Always liked making my own things. I always believed that I wasn't the type of person to be conformed to the standard of having to go work for someone and just following the norm of like the
Mm,
average or the normal working life, I guess. So
the
at a
nine
young
to
age, I
five,
decided. Pardon me?
the 9 to 5 to stay
Yeah,
alive, no?
19.
The one-
So I just decided, honestly, like I gotta break away from that norm. So, came up with an idea for a business when I was 16. Launched when I was 19, and then ever since then it's been absolutely amazing. And since then I've been getting involved in other ventures as well, kind of
Mm,
really enforcing my stance behind business and like essentially how to form business and improve business like right around South Africa. Hopefully one day right around the world. And yeah, no, it's like
definitely.
it's a very simple process though, but very difficult. Although
Yes.
from the outside, for example, through social media, people see business owners as, hey, everything's going good, but behind the scenes, things tend
Yeah,
to get
behind the
a
scenes
bit
is
scary now and then, and you get worried. So I love that rush of like making those decisions to see where it will take you one day, which I
okay.
personally
But
like.
before we go deep into the entrepreneurship spirit, I can see that you have a lot to share
Yeah.
about that with us. Just put a for the people that are watching and don't know that let's talk about what business are you doing now, that the one that obviously we talking about here, just for the people to understand, obviously now basically.
Yeah. So Nana was a essentially a class project I had in high school, and it started as a collective between designers, and it formed and it kind of evolved into an online store. I was feel like having the whole collective side was more of a social aspect to kind of obviously
Mm-hmm.
boost local brands. I had to now figure out the business aspect. How do you make money from it? How do you fund these
Yes.
designers? So that's where the store came from. So essentially, we SS leading marketplace for local fashion designers. We came from humble beginnings, starting in a garage, and I'm slowly but surely progressing into something bigger than it currently is. We've been shipping right across the world to various countries, and essentially we're providing designers with a bigger platform than they currently have. We kind of collect all these designers, sell their products through our store at costs that they could not personally possibly get themselves, just due to the fact that obviously you need large quantities to decrease costs, and
Yes, yes,
it
yes.
makes it very easier for them to kind of get into these international markets, which
Yes, yes,
that's
yes.
like kind of our goal, because I believe that we have a better chance of growing as a bigger brand outside of South Africa than we actually do inside of South Africa.
Yes, yes, yes. Amazing, amazing. So that also obviously is the main business that keeps you
Mm.
awake at night, no?
Yeah, it keeps me awake at night till 4, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, so like, I mean, I could ask you a couple of questions, obviously, regarding the business and stuff. I would say, like, obviously, first of all, are you happy with what you do, and if anything, what would you change from it? And secondly, I could ask you one of the questions that always pops to mind. What are the mistakes that you wish you could have avoided? Even though it's a very short, like, you only been in business for what, 2, 3 years, but
Yeah.
for sure you have learned so much. For sure you have applied a lot of that knowledge already into the business, and you're looking back and be like, yo, I should have done that differently. So what can you say to the next generation that are looking?
So essentially, just to paraphrase the first question you said again.
So like our question is, are you happy, and what would you change?
Um, am I happy? I think the first day I made sales, I realized I'm happy. The first time that counter ticked, oh, you're making enough rands to kind of last the month, I was happy. I guess like it's a mixed emotions at the end of the day. Like you get happy some days and you feel like absolute nonsense. Other days you feel like the wall's gonna
It's like
come up.
a
It's a roller
it's like
coaster.
a wave, you know. People think like entrepreneurship is all the way smooth sailing, but
Mm,
when you realize that it can keeps dipping, and it's all to
yeah,
do with how resistant you, or how resilient you are towards
yeah.
the next challenge, right?
I guess like it's I'll say that I'm very very happy. The fact that
Mm,
I've created something for myself, and like obviously suffered all the hardships of having to worry about months where you don't make any money and then months where you make
mm,
money, and then trying to maintain the trajectory of actually just like continuously growing the brand. Grow the brand if you don't make any money, and then you're like looking at the bank account like, oh geez, there's nothing
yes,
left.
yes, yes. This,
No, but then it's like once you've gotten over those first 6 months, then it's just like it's literally plain sailing to some extent, but
mm,
not to the. It's like you just need to sit back and relax. It's more like you still need to work really really hard, but you've gotten over those 6 months of wondering if this obviously thing will work, and then you're just like
yeah.
really happy. Like I'm
When,
really
when
happy.
when was that moment that you thought like you had the right idea? It was something when you launched this. Sorry, I'm just gonna open quickly. It's getting hot in here. So just basically, like what I would say is that when you thought you had the right idea, was it when you put this into the project, into the classroom? Was it when you started actually making sales? How do
So
you feel?
like I remember when I first came up with that idea and I started talking to some of my classmates about it, they said I was absolutely crazy. They were like, no, don't do it. You're gonna waste a lot of time. Like you should go to university first and like make sure that you have something behind your name, blah 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 blah. And I truly believed in it.
Mm,
I never knew it would work. Going into business, you never know exactly if something that you're gonna do is gonna work. Everything is a risk you'll take at the end of the day.
yes, yes.
So I think for me, the confirmation was making it first to do the first year. Um,
Mm,
Thing that I was able to sustain the business, even though we were
mm.
still a very small brand. Sustain the business in a way that is, I don't know, like, I don't, once again, I was going to say sustainable. I was like, sustain the business that's sustainable, but um, to sustain the business in a way that I can still continue next year. And
Yes, yes, yes.
obviously we've had our ups and downs, but it's been quite an experience, I won't lie. Um,
Yeah,
but I guess it was after that first year I realized, okay, there's a bit of traction behind us. We haven't spent too
yeah.
much money on marketing and stuff like that. People are taking notice of us. The media is taking notice of us. The general public is just taking notice of us. So I was like, okay, now
Yeah.
I think I just need to fully
Did
put some
you, can
more
I ask
time.
you like a financial question in a way, like just for to give the context, like more or less, how much was your initial capital to start something like this, like to set up
Um,
your website and stuff like? How much was your risk when you decided to go into this
so
venture?
the initial amount, if I'm not mistaken, was anywhere between I think it was 2,500 rand to 5,000 rand to start Nana.
Wow,
That was
that's not bad.
It's
That's
not
very
bad.
good.
That was the initial capital to kind of get everything started. And people have this thing, they thought in their mind that to start a business, you have to plow hundreds and thousands of rands into just
Yeah,
getting a
yeah.
business sorted. But it's really
No, it's
not
very
like that.
important just to start it, you know, start it no matter how, how basic it can be at the beginning, even if you do just with the tools that you find online, everything for free, just like keeping it super basic. But I think the most important thing is to give that first step, and then that step will take you into a whole new realm of things, right? So that being said, I mean, 5,000 rand is definitely doable, you know. So for everybody out there thinking about starting something, don't let your fears stop you because, oh, you don't have enough money. You have, you know, set aside a little bit of cash, you know, like save it up. 5,000 rand for sure to a lot of people is doable. So yeah, like that could be a good starting point. I mean, you can sell it.
A pair of sneakers would cost you like 2,000 rand. So just save 2 pairs of sneakers, and then you can start.
You know,
or 3, you can start your own business. It's not that difficult. That's the common misconception of entrepreneurship just in general, is the fact that people just think it's too expensive to start your own business when it's literally not. Like registering your own company.
You just need to be willing, you know, willing to take that risk, willing to take that, you know, accepting that maybe you lose that money, but it's not lost because you learn so much that not even schools could teach you in those first 6 months, in those first years of all that struggle to get something up and running. You know, that is of real value, you know, that you can apply to any other business, any other element, any other things, even to your own schooling. You can apply that, right? So how you plan of growing the business now, like actually as a brand? Like obviously now you just relaunched the website, and obviously we are in the beginning stages, and we obviously got into this pandemic. So at this moment, how you feel the market is doing, how you feel it has affected your business at the moment, and how do you see the future happening for during these times?
Yeah, so like I guess just from a growing point of view, like there's a lot of aspects that we have started to implement to obviously have sustainable growth during the whole of 2020. We didn't see the whole pandemic coming. It was literally like we heard about it, but to be honest, no one really took like attention to this pandemic coming to South Africa, or this virus coming to South Africa, like completely disrupting our lives. I don't think anyone could see it coming. But yeah, so it has like this, just the virus itself has put a big like hindrance on what we're doing right now. It's very difficult to sustain a business during this time. We just can't really operate as a non-essential service provider. But we had a lot of plans to grow this year. So we from a content point of view, because there's obviously different ways you can grow. You can grow just from your online store. You can grow your social media presence. You can grow traffic, blah, blah, blah. Just from a social media point of view, our biggest aim this year was simply to focus and hone in on user-generated content and influencer marketing, which we believe is not a lot of South African businesses are kind of implementing that in their day-to-day business, because from a social media point of view and from a social proof point of view, it's the easiest way of attracting customers and attracting eyes to your brand. And then also you just your normal social media marketing, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, all those finer details that will continue to boost your brand each day. Each day you pay for these ads. So these are little things that we've done to kind of increase the growth of the brand. Also with the inclusion of our expansion, so expanding into different with NOWNOW being launched, and plans going into place for NOWNOW to be launched in the places like New Zealand and Australia over the next year and a half, and then continuously boosting our marketing overseas as well to kind of get.
Would you say launch it, meaning like you want to basically advertise to those countries, or you want to actually build another website there or something, just to understand?
Yeah, so the essential goal, and we're currently in works, we're in talks with like our kind of stakeholders in those countries, is to launch essentially a carbon copied version of NOWNOW in those countries. Essentially all it would be is like NOWNOW but New Zealand style. So although it's a very big task, and it's a very big task for such a small brand as of now, we have
and this is such a short time, no, maybe.
And we spoke to our stakeholders, and we investigated the market, and we saw that there was something like this needed. I think it would have been the best option for us to just try it. We obviously have started thinking of kind of going into the rest of Africa, namely like Kenya, Egypt, and Morocco. But obviously, we it kind of weighing up the pros and cons of both. So we'd
Pros
like
and
to
cons,
do,
yes.
but we also will want to be
Africa,
working with Africa as well. So that
yes.
will be happening over the next year and a half to 2 years, and hopefully by the end of 2021, we will have a store, an online store based in another country. But obviously, that is still to be seen.
No, amazing, amazing. I think there's a great potential there, you know. Like we said, like we were talking, you and I, the other day, like how people overseas sometimes perceive to be they appreciate way more what is local for them, brands that are
Mm,
locally made, brands that, you know, speak that language. And sometimes it's sad, but in South Africa, people are still taking a bit of time to actually support local brands because you have this ideology or this mentality that because it's local, it mustn't be cool, or it's local, the quality mustn't be great. And I think
mm,
it's something, well, one of our biggest mission, you know, as a business is to change that, you know. And I think these difficult times have actually put us in the forefront of understanding what is the impact of just making things in China or overseas. Nothing to against with China and stuff, but you know what I mean. Just depending on things coming from other places into here, and to feel us as a consumer that if we buy things that are made somewhere else, that must be better. You know, when I think
mm.
if we actually look at our brands, and there are such a good brands locally, either locally made in Johannesburg or in Africa in a way, that are so cool, you know, and they have a story to
Mm,
tell. And I believe that that story resonates so much. I mean, if it resonates with a lot of our clientele from Europe, I don't
yeah,
understand still why it doesn't resonate the same way with local clientele. And that is one
yeah.
of the biggest mission that we have, is to change that perception, I believe. What is your take
I
on
think
all of that?
it goes back to I think the fact that um, we we kind of put this emphasis on these well-known international brands as the epitome of opulence, I guess. When someone reaches a certain level in life, I guess, when it comes to income and wealth, the first
Yeah.
thing, to some extent, from a luxurious point of view, you look at those big name brands like LVMH, Gucci, Off-White, sorry, and all those jazz. That's where we put the emphasis on as, no, we need to be now wearing that because you know what, that is the next level. You know, that's the next level
Yeah.
of fashion. When, for example, you come to these smaller local brands and you see them and the quality that they produce, which to some extent is even higher than that you'll find.
Yes, and all the other international brands brought here. Hello? And this goes a little bit stuck. Yeah. Yeah, we here, no, we're here. It was just a bit frozen, you know? That's momentum,
Yeah,
you know?
so yeah, so it's unfortunately like a bit of a problem, and this is why local brands will in South Africa take so long to grow. It's because
Build, yeah.
we base the fact on, yeah, no, it's local. Let's Do you really think that it's going to be that good? There's
Mm.
always that one, like, is it that good? The price is not the greatest. Um, yeah, no, you shouldn't be really focusing on it because, oh, like, it's too expensive. Yet you'll go to like Diesel, or you'll go to Levi's and spend like 3,000-4,000 on a pair of jeans, where you could be supporting and growing a local brand that probably makes better quality than that
Mm.
of that brand. So I guess there's a lot of factors that kind of play a part in this specific situation. Also, I think we put a major emphasis on the fact that that the European and the American brands are better than ours.
Yes, yes, yes.
Because I know we had this conversation last night. I
They
know we
say
had this
cloud
conversation.
chasers. The one girl says cloud chasers, and true, 100%. I believe that they're just chasing that cloud. Look, I mean, I respect all brands. I appreciate all brands. But personally, when I go overseas and I'm in Europe or wherever, like I actually go to find brands that are not known, and people that understand fashion, understand clothes and stuff like that. They would rather wear something that is not known anyway. Because I mean, how
Mm,
many Nike or Adidas t-shirts can you have? You know, when you could have
yeah.
something that is a little bit more slick, a little bit more understated, you know, but it's more special to you as a person. And I believe it's more original because not a lot of people are going to be wearing the same thing, right? Yeah, you have a lot of fans, eh, Eohan? Everybody's commenting here. Everybody's sending you love, you know? Good, eh?
No,
Thank you,
it's
guy.
just
But yeah, I mean, just that being said, I believe that definitely we need to keep going, and hopefully, after this pandemic, after all of this, a lot of consumers start realizing that, right, and they start supporting more what it really affects the community straight away. You know, I mean, not all products made here are the best quality, I guess, but there is a lot of brands, there's a lot of products that you could wear. You know.
And I know that I think we spoke about it last night. The fact that when you have your international clientele, and when they come to your store in town, they always talk about the story behind the product and not the product itself. And that's what gets them. Unlike here in South Africa, unfortunately, we're sitting with a situation where people buy the logo. They buy the brand and the actual story behind it. And then you'll see that your more local-based brands have a richer history within the culture itself than these more well-known brands, unfortunately. And I think that will continuously be my fight every single day, trying to get more people to turn to local fashion designers and kind of turn
it's
away
exactly
from.
what the story that I told you yesterday about the Germans, for instance, with the iconic black brand. Like every time they will come to the shop or they will come to the market, and they will come back year after year, and they will tell, even in the same summer, like this summer that just happened, like they will come to the biscuit mill, they will buy something, then next week the friends will come, then the next week the friends of the friends, and people that came from Germany or Switzerland, oh no, my friend was wearing the brand. And I stopped and asked them, why you guys like it so much? I mean, nothing wrong, obviously, I was super happy. But I was like, why is there? I was doing some market research. Like, why is there that calls your attention the most? What is it? Because it's a cool garment? Because the logo is cool? And they said, no, like, we love the story. We love what it represents. Obviously, the quality needs to be good. The outlook needs to be good. But above all, they love what it represented as a movement, as a story, and the fact that it had a straight impact into the community here, right? Because through us selling the product, we are able to, provide for our young South African creative movement. We do the talks, we do things that are derivative of these people buying this product, even though that is not my focus when I sell the brand. I'm not like, oh yeah, buy this so we can support these guys. That's not the focus, but it's the story of the brand. And you know how many people I sold the brand just by telling them the story? I said, no, this is what it represents. Oh, wow. I need to buy 2 or 3 because I know it's something that I can share also with friends. If I'm wearing this brand, or that back in Germany, and I'm with my friends and they ask me, oh, what is that? And and he is able to tell the story. That is the proof that people want as well. There's like, oh yeah, I bought this in South Africa because this is from a group of creatives, and that it tells a story, is a opener for a conversation. And that's a lot of what people are also looking for, more originality in that, But that being said, I mean, another question that I wanted to ask you regarding how you feel the business model is going to change now, and what is your projection after with the coronavirus obviously being here? What do you think we have to do for the future, prove ourselves for this future that is obviously here now, and that we're going back to a business that is completely new in a way?
Yeah, so in a recent interview I did for Biz Community, we spoke about essentially like the future of business. How exactly are we going to be seeing the future of business in South Africa? And the underlying theme was that e-commerce in South Africa is going to lead the way in regards to business recovery.
Yes.
I am very, very confident that e-commerce itself will essentially have the easiest way out after this pandemic, because obviously costs are much lower per unit sold, and just cost of operation is like a fraction of that would be an online that would be of a brick and mortar store or just a general company. So I believe that, like, from a business model point of view, a lot of business are going to be filtering online now because they understand that there's a greater need for that. I do believe possibly that foot traffic in stores might decrease due to this pandemic, just due to the fact that no one wants to get coronavirus.
Definitely.
And the best way to kind of, I don't know, get away from like that physical contact and the possible ability for this virus to be contracted to yourself, people will then start resorting to buying online. Thus, I do believe within the next 6 months, after this pandemic has kind of eased out and done its part in South Africa, people will be moving online. Luckily, it's the people like myself and yourself that have online stores and have been in the game for a reasonable long time, will start benefiting from this. So
Yes, yes.
if there's anyone wanting to start a business, I highly recommend going online because you guys are probably going to be making money in the next few months. But I guess it's a combination of literally like how are we going to adapt to survive, and how are we going to improve our proactive responses to anything like this. Because we know, as I said, no one saw this coming. No one saw the fact that our business is going to be essentially under lockdown for a month and we won't be able to produce any sales. We still need to pay our bills and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
luckily, like because of the easing of the restrictions, hopefully, e-commerce stores will be that type of stores that will still be able to operate and still be able to generate profit and stuff like that during these uncertain times. So we'll have it a bit easier, which
Yeah.
is a nice thing. But I guess, yeah, we also have to, we put in, I know also in the interview I said, we put an emphasis on our proactive responses. So rather doing it before it happens. So like kind
Yes,
of
yes.
having that critical thinking and kind of looking at the situation as a whole and then understanding, okay, listen, like in the future, I don't really know what's going to happen, but I'm rather going to save my bacon now than save it later. Because you'll see
Yeah.
businesses that haven't put in specific control measures before the pandemic even started are currently hemorrhaging money like it's going out of fashion. Because now it's like everyone's running around in a circle trying to figure out, okay, now what am I supposed to do? And it's business like that. That's what e-commerce, I think, will.
Hi guys. Hi. Thanks for coming. Ethan Threads. Ethan Threads as well. It's Brad. Brad Ethan. Welcome. Very, very nice shirts and formal wear brand as well from Cape Town. He actually sells a product in our iconic black space in 75 Look Street. So do come and check it out. He has beautiful shirts. Also young entrepreneur from South Africa, starting his business. And yeah, trying to make a difference. I don't know why, but this is not working right now. It's not connecting with Eohan. I don't know if he has. Let me send him a message. No problem.
Yo, I'm so sorry.
Listen,
Telkom ain't my friend right now, yeah.
I'm telling you, hey, Telkom, this Telkom is the one company that needs to start bringing down the internet, giving us better speed for better price. It's about
No,
time.
literally, like such a mission. Honestly, like I had to go switch my router off for some unknown reason. It didn't want to work.
Oh, good. Okay, no problem, no problem. I was just communicating here with the people, a little bit about, what we were discussing, for everybody that has just joined in the channel now,
Mm.
and just overall, like, what you were saying about obviously to work through these times, and ahead of the time, we see that in South Africa, especially e-commerce, I think finally is going to start seeing a hike. I
Mm.
believe that in the last 2-3 years, people are still very like afraid of buying something online. On my websites, they always send us like 5-6 messages just before they buy or purchase something. And it's
Yeah.
as simple as telling them like, yo, you just need to go, everything is secure. But unfortunately, they have that misconception that, hey, maybe it's something fishy. Maybe my transaction is going to go lost. Maybe I'm never going to see the product. And irrespectively, we have a store, we have online presence and all of that. I think this has finally kind of pushed the people to understand that, hey, you can trust the reliable websites, you can shop online, you will get your product, things are running smoothly. So I think this is gonna make people feel more at ease and comfortable. And like you said, with the social distancing and everything that is gonna be happening, I think we need to be focusing in more of an experience in the stores, or just build our community through experiences, and just basically get the final client to actually buy online,
Yeah.
or purchase things that they like, or through Instagram or through emails, and just send us, hey, you know what, I like this. We send a payment link, we send it to your doorstep. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's very important to.
Back to the fact that the fear of the unknown. When you
Mhm.
go into the online store, you can see the photo of the actual product itself, but you can't feel it. You
Yes,
won't know if it's legit until it actually arrives at your door. And
yes,
that's the biggest problem. And that is it's a very slow kind of movement that's happening in South Africa, people turning to online. But as you said, like during this time, people have now had to rely on online service providers to provide them with specific goods and services during these uncertain times. So that trust is starting to change. So I always believe that this pandemic, unfortunately, it has its negatives, but it also has its positives. It's
yeah,
introduced new industries that I never thought they would be wanting to buy from, for example,
yes,
i.e. the e-commerce industry in South Africa. And now they're putting all their trust in it and people are delivering. I have
yeah, yeah.
mad respect for the companies that are still operating during this time, that's delivering like certain goods and services to customers wherever they may be, because it's adding that level of like safety and security back into our hands. We know for a fact that when we do launch online store again, and when sales do come through again, customers are going to trust our store even more, just due to the fact that like now they've had to rely on online service providers for so long. So
Yes,
yeah,
yes. So okay, yeah, just to wrap it up a bit, like regarding the discussions of entrepreneurship, what would be your let's say your best like three advice that you can give to somebody that is already established in a business, how they can like adapt now with these changing times. Secondly, could be somebody that wants to start it up, somebody that wants to start up a business, and
yeah.
thirdly, just around of what would be your advice to those people trying to make it now or trying to retrieve from a business. What would be your point of
Yeah,
advice?
so I think like my biggest like I think the scariest part of starting your own business is essentially not knowing if it's going to work.
Mm.
You put yourself out. Essentially starting a business is just like a creative extension of yourself.
Yes,
You
yes,
put
yes.
yourself out there to provide a service or product to customers, not knowing if it's going to work, if you're going to make money out there, and just due to South African context alone, not a lot of people have the type of funds to just go out and start businesses right, left, right, and center, because you have to source a product, you got to source a service or something like that. Create your own product, create your own service. You don't know if you'll get your return on your investment. So I think for just as like a rule of thumb, I just believe I won't know what I could have done if I didn't start. Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
if you put yourself out there and you just simply do it. Like my dad always says, just do it. Like when I spoke up to him first about NOWNOW, I remember him being a bit hesitant, saying, "Hey, you should maybe try it." But then after a while, he said he saw that I was very passionate about it. He was like, "Just do it, Jon. You don't know what's gonna
Just
happen.
do it.
Just do it."
Yeah.
Uh, and I did it. And so far, I've obviously experienced this and that, but it's been largely positive, and I've really enjoyed it. And I didn't know I would
Mm.
have been in a position with you, for example, on this Instagram Live if I didn't do it when I first started.
No,
So
100%. You know.
there's a world of possibilities out there. You just need to kind of line yourself up correctly, be very clever in your decision making, and then you will essentially make it somehow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
there's a lot of thinking that goes into it. There's a lot of numbers that go into it. There's a lot of creativity that goes into creating a brand and actually selling it to customers. But also, it forms. You need the confidence. You need that confidence to kind of be like, okay, I believe in myself. I can do
Mm.
this. So
Yeah.
if I was to give any sort of advice, I would just say, don't really care what people say and think.
Mm.
If you want to start a business, don't be blinded by the fact that these people don't believe in you. Because at first, no one believed in Nana. I can tell you that now. People looked at me and
Mm.
laughed. And
I can
you
tell you
should.
now. Nobody believe in it.
People looked at me and laughed and said, "No, you shouldn't do it because it's not going to be clever. We don't need something like that. You can. I'm not going to be basing my opinion on those of three, four others." But it's funny
Yes, yes.
story that the same people that said no are the same people that say congratulations on doing so well with Nana. So it's like you don't know what you'll do until you start and kind of get through your plan and
Yeah.
do what you think
And I
you're going
mean,
to
if the first time it fails, the second time it fails, but the third time is a success. you never know when this the right time is happening, you know, like maybe it can take years, you know. Like one
Mm.
thing I always say to a lot of people is that people tend to give up too quickly, you know.
Yeah.
You never can give up straight away. It
Yeah.
has some people has taken years and a lot of money and a lot of hard work to get it, to actually get it somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
So I think it's resistance and resilience and keep motivating yourself, you know. That's for me, it's always been number one, you know. Like who else is going to motivate you when like everything
Exactly.
seems going wrong? You have to motivate yourself somehow, right?
Exactly. Yeah, no, and it's like it's
Amazing.
motivating. Motivating yourself is probably the worst thing as an entrepreneur, because some days you just look at yourself, you're like, yo, how am I gonna get through this day? You're like, how am I gonna like pay my bills? How am I going to make sure everyone's happy? And it's when you realize why you started. And I think if I remember correctly, I was sitting with Brad Eaton from Eaton Threads, and he spoke to me. And he's like, you know, some
Hey, you
days
talk about him and he was strutting here. Yo.
uh, he
Okay.
said that he literally told me that you need to remember why you started. And I remember I started because I had this dream when I was 18. I put in 2-3 years of hard work and research, and then and I had the kind of the what's the word I'm looking for, the passion behind me having to promote and sell local fashion designers, because I believed that there was a
Yeah.
market for that.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, so I guess like for me, it was a mixture of like me believing or remembering why I started, and then me just visualizing my future, because I know for a fact that I have a goal in mind. I know for a fact that in the next 3 years I want to be a millionaire, for example, or the
Yes,
next
yes, yes.
years I want to have the biggest online store in Africa. So I have like these specific goals in mind that I know for a fact that, yo, listen, like this is what I need to do to get there. I'm on the right path. It just means like, just like Ethan said, resilience. Resilience is key. Key. You have
Yes,
to
yes, yes.
continue to push every day, no matter what
Push
people say.
through no matter how difficult it gets, indeed.
Exactly. And
And
you might
one of the
feel
things, Johan, like I don't know if you do, but like sometimes when we need motivating ourselves, I mean, sometimes I even turn to the Google and I just go and like I need some motivation. Like, watch a
yeah.
video that motivates you, or listen to a podcast that is talking about business entrepreneurs.
Mm,
I mean, if you actually go and look at the biggest millionaires in the world, the biggest businessmen in the world, most of them started as entrepreneurs. Most of
yeah.
them started as not knowing how to go about it. Not most of them started like, if you hear the stories, I was like, wow, but this guy just started doing something, right? Like what you're saying,
Yeah.
what your father was telling you, just do it, and you start doing it, and then you find a way, and then you tend to ask people, you know, like we had this conversation yesterday. You find people that know a little bit in that field, you know, and you approach them and you're like, yo, can you tell me more or
Mm,
less about this? And a lot of people will be willing to help you, because if you're an entrepreneur yourself, you will be helping the next guy, because
yeah.
you see yourself in that kid. You see yourself like, you know what, it's fine. We all started somewhere. We don't know where we're going. And I think it's very important to just maintain that kind of openness to share with other people, and vice versa. You know, we're constantly learning, you know?
Yeah, and like I think we also spoke about it yesterday, like the whole mentorship situation, where I'm
Mm.
not scared to learn from someone that's more experienced in a specific field than I am. And I think
Yeah.
if you go into the entrepreneur space, you need to get that thing out of your mind where you say, okay, I'm gonna have this ego. I'm not gonna be wanting to learn from someone that's bigger, more established than I am, or just listening to
Mm.
opinions of others because you think you know
Yeah.
better than them.
No,
It's
100%.
like you have to take all of that in, internalize it, and then make a plan out of that.
Yeah,
That is
yeah.
very, very important. I kind of, I don't know, like I've always been of the mindset that I'm not going to put myself above others. We're all on the
Yes.
same level, and if you're
Yeah.
above me, I'm going to want to learn from you because you've done it before. You, for example,
Mm.
you have a successful brand, and I learn from you because I would like to put it in place in my own business so that I can
It's
teach
like
my
one
own.
one 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 saying that is very, one like a quote or saying that is very like what you're talking about is that what they say, if you are in a room and you are the smartest in the room, that means that you are in the wrong room, you know.
Hmm.
So you always have to
Exactly.
be in rooms that you are actually the dumbest in a way, and you're constantly learning from all these people. So automatically keeps you pushing you forward into like knowing and understanding and learning more, you know. But that being said, I think we're gonna be cut down soon. So I just want you to wrap up a little bit. just basically say to the people here watching and looking and listening to us, basically where to find you, where to follow you, the brands. Just give a little bit of
Yeah.
your tags so people can check more of your work.
Yeah, so as simple as if you ever want to find information about me, which I don't know if you want, you can just simply search for my name in Google and I'm sure it'll pop up. Alternatively, you can follow me on Instagram, DM me if you have any questions. Alternatively, if you want to follow NOWNOW and see what we do get up to, you can just follow us at NOWNOW_SA on Instagram. You can follow us on Facebook and just NOWNOW_SA, and then on Twitter as well. We like to be a bit funny, you know, like post some memes here, memes there, and then also just post about our brands and stuff like that. And then, yeah, no, if you ever want to get involved with the brand or you want to kind of learn more, don't be afraid to message me. I don't bite at all. Or alternatively,
Oh,
you can go.
it's a teddy bear. He doesn't bite. He's a hugger.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. You can always go to our Instagram and then click on the call button where you guys can message our WhatsApp line, and if you can ask for me, and then one of our team members will put you in contact with me. And then if you just need any questions, like need any information, need any assistance, or if you just need some like help in regards to setting up a brand and needing some information on how to do that, literally you can DM me on Instagram.
I mean, for me, that is beautiful because for me, that is part of being part of the iconic Black movement. Is guys like you know, that feel connected as well to that bigger picture. Like you want to help, you want to give your advice to the next generation, and that's for me beautiful. Just before closing down, something that we always ask our interviewers. I see that you wear an iconic Black T-shirt.
Hey.
You know the brand. So I wanted to ask you, like, what iconic Black means to you as a brand. You know, I know you told me something yesterday about that. But I want to just to put it out there. What do you feel like Iconic Black has done?
I remember coming across Iconic Black like a while back, and wanting you guys so badly in my store. I was like, yo, if only I can get you in my store, it'd be so cool. I don't know if I told you this, but I actually did visit your store before you like got into NOWNOW, and we actually met because I went to your store to actually go check your stuff out. And the recurring theme that I've gotten from everyone and that I've kind of internalized is like the South African excellence that's within the brand. Just by like the logo itself and like by the look and feel and the understanding of the brand, you look at it and be like, wow, like this is a proper brand. It's a proper South African brand that produces quality day in and day out. So like for me, the Iconic Black kind of lifestyle kind of personifies togetherness, community, as well as the absolute best we can possibly be. By simply just
inspirational.
Yeah, by looking at the product itself and understanding where it came from and where it's going and the goal behind it. Because Iconic Black isn't just a fashion brand; it's a movement. It's not something you see in the store. It's actually something that you feel. Yeah, so Iconic Black goes far and beyond, and it's one of the few brands in South Africa that go far and beyond just wanting to sell products. They actually want to make a difference in the community around them. So yeah, that's my take on Iconic Black.
Oh, amazing, man. It's always good to hear like what is the perception out there, you know. And like I said, for me, for me and for all the creatives behind the brand, you know, when people ask me, oh, how can I join the movement? How can I say, for me, everybody is part of the movement, because if you believe in what you're putting out there, irrespective if you are part of the brand or not, you know, because everybody has, like I say, everybody has its own hustles, right? I do my own hustle, you do your own hustle, but when we come together as part of a movement, moving something forward, some culture forward, I think it's beautiful, because we all Iconic Black. We're all part of the young South African creative movement, you know? So for me, it's not about us, it's not about you, it's about togetherness and building that together in a way, on separate hustles and as together collaborating and all that. But that being said, Eohan, thank you so much for coming and talking through to us, sharing your stories, you know, with everybody that tune in. Just remember, we're going to start putting this content as well in YouTube, in Iconic Black TV, just to share it. You know, people can go there anytime and find inspirational, find maybe some motivation for starting their own businesses, starting their own, being creative or just as a business, right? And so we're going to be sharing all of this. So thank you so much, Eohan, for coming through, and we'll see you in the other side, man. Have a good day,
bro.
And enjoy the lockdown, man.
Bye.
Cheers, bye. Well, anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We're just gonna close it up. I will get to you guys tomorrow. We have a very good interview with the fashion and grooming editor called Aziz Jacobs. He is the men's health, grooming, and fashion editor. So we're gonna be talking about fashion, about what is the role of fashion at these difficult times, and how they planning to basically get to the people, and what is the position basically, and just some keys, you know, like grooming now while you're indoors. What is your best tips for, you know, keeping stylish indoors, and everything related to fashion, but as well as entrepreneurs, as a businesses, what they are doing in the forefront to get to the people. That is tomorrow at 12, and also this evening at 6 p.m. Donovan, the other creative as well, and the Connie Black is hosting as well at Instagram Live with I think with the girl from Nigeria or somewhere in Africa. We're trying to expand as well our reach. So if you guys come and check it out, 6 o'clock tonight and tomorrow, basically from Thursday all the way to Saturday, we're gonna be hosting these two talks. Okay, thank you so much for coming. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.